Section 3. You will hear two students talking about a course they are doing in Chinese at university, 1 to 24.
I'm really enjoying our Chinese language course so far, aren't you?
Yeah, I definitely made the right choice coming to this university. The teaching's so good, isn't it? I love the methods our tutors use. They really get the most out of us.
I never thought I'd learn so much so quickly. Goes to show what a difference it makes being taught by native speakers. If I'd known about that in advance, it would have confirmed my choice absolutely.
It's an aspect of the course which is really useful. It's cool having lots of options to choose from too, as far as topics to study is concerned, though that wasn't something I really considered in much detail when I was deciding where to study.
I know what you mean. I have to say I'm finding the culture course absolutely fascinating. I'm glad that's on the timetable. By the way, how are you finding living away from home in a big city?
Well, it was a bit of a nightmare at first, having grown up in a sleepy village in the middle of nowhere. I do miss the peace and quiet sometimes, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I had to try something new.
That's why I'm here too. There's no way I could live in the country. I'd be bored out of my mind. Do you think you'll spend the third year studying abroad? We have the choice whether or not to go, don't we?
Why else would I have registered here? It's an unmissable opportunity, wouldn't you say?
I'm with you there. It isn't as expensive to do as some of the study abroad programs at other universities.
Thankfully. Anyway, have you seen the list of study groups for next semester yet? We're allowed to join 2. I'm having trouble deciding which ones to join, actually. I'd like to do them all, though I know we won't have time, what with our regular lectures and everything.
Well, there's the grammar study group. My grammar could definitely do with a bit of polishing, though I have to confess I'm probably likely to give that a miss.
I've come to the same conclusion. The writing skills group would definitely be useful, especially if we end up working in China at some point.
I'd rather get my speaking skills up to scratch. You can never do enough practice there, so that's something I'm going to sign up for.
I'll go with that. What about literature analysis? Fancy that? Getting to grips with Chinese literature sounds like a real challenge.
And one I'll attempt at some later date, I think.
I was thinking about putting my name down for it, though, to be honest, I might be better off putting some work into understanding what people are saying to me. So I think I'll go for that group.
I know what you mean. That's that decided then.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen carefully and answer questions 25 to 30.
How have you been finding the free online resources we've been given access to? I found 1 or 2 of them useful, but some of them aren't as exciting as I'd expected them to be.
Right. I tried the chat room the other day for the first time. You know, where you can make contact with real Chinese speakers and practice your language skills. I was chatting to a really helpful user called May. The connection was pretty poor though, and I gave up in the end. I don't know whether it's always like that.
I had a similar experience, waiting ages for replies to come through. And what about the translation software? I've never been a great fan of it, but that stuff is really high-tech, isn't it? It's got all sorts of functions, though maybe at the expense of getting a precise interpretation of what you're trying to say.
You don't have to wait as long as you do for some translation software to do its stuff, but I think what you said is a universal problem with that kind of thing. Better to use our heads. What do you think of the vocabulary builder?
You know what? There's tons of useful and functional stuff to practice on there. I spotted several errors though, if you can believe that.
I noticed that too. Maybe we should raise that with our tutors. Let them know it's lacking in quality. We need top-rate stuff at our level. The dictionary's not bad, but I've seen ones that have some interesting extras like activity sections. Shame it doesn't have any of those.
I know. They can be slow to use, though. The language lab's pretty lazy, isn't it?
I've only used it a couple of times, but I'd agree. There seem to be plenty of delays when it's setting up, though you can do some interesting things on it once you've got it running. Then there's the writing checker, the thing you type into and it tells you what typing errors you've made. I got a bit bored doing the same thing after a while, though. It's a bit limited in what it can do. I think I'd rather have my tutor's feedback.
It would be better if it was a bit more interactive, though how that would work I'm not sure. Anyway, at least we've got access to the resources. They're better than nothing, even if they're not perfect. Right, shall we look at this next piece?
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now look at section 4.